So I want to invite you to start with a little breathing exercise that I actually invite you to practice as we are having this really challenging conversation. Let's see, like that. Okay. I invite you to bring all your attention to the sensations of in your body, right? And I'm doing this with you right very moment. So there is a lot of feelings, a lot of sensations. I feel kind of fiery sensations in my arms, in my entire body, a little bit constricted in the chest. I'm aware that a human me is doing something very brave for herself right now. I'm in the midst of the crisis, in the midst of the war that connects to me personally. And at the same time, I'm choosing to speak out, to be seen, to be honest, to be expressed. You know, this is actually something that I find that someone who I identify as a safe and a good therapist or healer for me is someone who can be fully expressed and someone who can share their opinions, their views, so that I can decide, is this person someone I want to be consuming information from? Is this someone I want to follow? Is this someone I potentially want to be a client of? So for me, this always has been a very, maybe not always, but in recent years, for sure, it has been a very strong commitment. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be seen. You're going to see me in my lowest, in my highest, through all kinds of challenges I go in life, so that you can make your own estimate. Okay, this is why I think it's so important. So, this is also why I'm sharing with you the sensations that I'm having. And the way I deal, so if you don't have a lot of times and you're like, Ira, can you like summarize all this long life you're going to have right now in case I don't have much time? Yes, I will start with that, with the summary. And the summary is, let me share with you something that helps in reality as is. The most in reality as is your breath and to your senses. Wherever you feel, I invite you to stay present. Human life, human experience, right now on this planet, if you truly connect to reality as is, by this war between Israel and Hamas, you will feel a lot of emotions. If you're impacted by any other war, Russia, Ukraine, all kinds of wars that are happening on this globe, you are going to be having a lot of emotions. You might not have a lot of emotions if you are not connected to none of this. And then it is possible, I don't know, that you can shut yourself down from all the information regarding all the suffering that is happening in the world. It's your choice. I choose not to, because history had showed it to me that whatever I close my eyes to is eventually going to be knocking at my door. This is just me, but I also think it's a very valid choice to say, I live in California or I live somewhere in Europe, and my surrounding, my life is very beautiful. I get to be in the nature, I get to be with trees, I get to just kind of, be with the sweet community. And I can detach from all this news. I really can turn it off and not have it in my experience. And maybe that is really the rightful choice. You're going to have a lot of emotions. And if you are able to breathe and stay present with your sensations and your emotions, I believe you really will be able to pull through, to grow spiritually, and to find answers to very big questions. Like, how do we fight violence? How do we fight behavior of Islamic Jihad? How can we do this with the minimum of human life loss? Right? You don't have to take it there. Your mind will take it to all kinds of directions. But if you will continue Not to avoid the big and uncomfortable feelings, but to stay present and to anchor yourself into breath. So many things this day to be able to show up like that, to smile, not to fall into pieces with all the pain and suffering and rage and everything, to be able to anchor to my breath. I do yoga, I eat well, I meditate, I breathe, I go for a walk, I do sauna, I do cold plunge, all kinds of things to take care of my personal neuro spiritual system. That's the basics. I invite you to shut off any information, if you are able, that, okay, many of us are not able. So these are the people I'm talking to. And one of these people is one of my former clients who attended a one women retreat with me. And I'm going to read some of the things that she says, really her genuine experience. It's very important. You know, it's a beautiful human. It's a beautiful woman. It's a beautiful soul. And this is why I find it so important to do this live, because there are so many people like her that are confused, that have the opinion that, you know, someone who is a healer, someone who is a spiritual teacher is here to bring this energy of love and peace no matter what. And so here is what she writes. Response to another healer, actually incredible person who has done a lot of work with women and is doing a lot of work, very much esteemed for her work, who wrote about her experience as an outsider when she was visiting, and by mistake visiting Israel, and by mistake got into the Palestinian side of Jerusalem, and had, out of the blue, rocks thrown at her head by children, right? By rock at the head. She luckily wasn't. It flew past her and they began to run with her friend. It doesn't matter who is it coming from, right? And we all can agree, I think the people I'm talking to, and we all can agree in the Western society that we put boundaries to our children. We do not incite them to hate. We really cut this behavior, right? I cut this behavior. My son may not hit anyone, and if he does, I really intervene. But this is really not the case in the Palestinian community on the ground. And if we don't talk about it, if all of us, and I say we, all of us, I don't care if you're Jew, Arab, Muslim, Christian, Israeli, Palestinian, I believe that all of us can agree. This is something that is not okay. That is not okay, right? And some of us maybe do not agree. Some of us maybe can say, hey, listen, these people live in such terrible conditions and Israel is at fault. And so I can understand why they're doing this. As a psychologist, as someone who studies human consciousness and behavior since the age of 15, so it's like about 27 years right now, 28 already, I'm 43. I can as well. But if we get into this whole conflict, I can understand also something else. That October 7 put really strong in front of our faces. People are responsible for the government they choose. People are responsible for the actions of their military. If I want to have a beautiful life, each one of us, in the deep spiritual truth, if a human wants to have a beautiful life, we can create this. And our identities, and we can create this personal life. Any moment on creating love, beauty, peace, or on hating and being in revenge mode. And a Palestinian society, as a group, have been in support of this line of action that is terrorism. Of course, it doesn't mean that every Palestinian is terrorist. Of course not. There's so many beautiful and wonderful and amazing people. It's just like in Israel. I've been protesting the current regime because it's not right. Things that really need to be put on the table. You cannot cancel Jewish indigenous connection to this land. You cannot. And Palestinian society as a society have been at this for a while. You cannot say from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, without being brutally honest and saying that means we are going to kill, just like Hamas killed people who opposed it. On the ground in Gaza. A same enemy, one enemy, regardless of what ethnicity and religion we are. This is the kind of a mentality of jihad that says, I know who is the true devotee of God and who is not. And my God tells me to kill those who are not. They say that they exterminate Jews. So when the next day after October 7, you have to understand, you go and protest against Israel, you have to understand it's not Israel who is the source of the fight. And we can unite all together in defeating Hamas and jihad. And again, don't get confused. Jihad is not Islam. Islam is a beautiful, deep religion of peace, of love, like any other religion at its depth. Christianity at its depth is love, pure passion of love. Judaism and Islam in its depth is the same. It's about peace and love. Now, the mistake where I see we did as a Western mind, as the progressive mind, is that, right? Like just like patriarchy had suppressed the feminine. Now, as a progressive, compassionate heart, we decided to suppress the reason. We decided to suppress that part, that shakes us and says, look at the reality. Look at the two sides at fight. Understand that in a 3D reality, there is good and bad. There is something that supports life and asks for peace. There's no Palestinian state. Because there could be Palestinian state, but no one can give you, someone else tell you like this is a state. This partition happened when Israel was established. Why Palestinians did not say this is okay, so now we have Palestinian state in the West Bank and Gaza. Why it didn't happen? Because the desire in the community was the entire land is our land. I'm not able to see into the complexity of the history that this is the place in the world that has two indigenous people, and actually all three religions originate, and this land is sacred to them. I believe evolving in our consciousness to be able to be both love and truth, to be both in meditation and in a warrior state. Because there are things that absolutely demand us to fight against. What are your grievances are? I feel like I'm repeating myself. You may not burst into another country and kill, and this is what Hamas has been doing and Hezbollah have been doing with Israel for years. You cannot demand from a country to be accountable for its misconduct. of the misconduct of its military, and at the same time be ruled in Gaza by terrorist organization that teaches children to fight and kill. This is very serious. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter. And that we must first of all put a strong red line here. There will be a fight. There will be a fight if you are not able, because I am not consenting, very clearly, I'm not consenting to having so much power and using its power and covering itself with civilians. I'm not consenting for this organization to keep going on. And I do not have answers in terms of how do you stop it without losing any life. I don't think that we evolved, that we know that we have these answers right now as humans. We don't. So we have the means that we have. And I'm proud of Israel for being able to, at this time, to tell to people in Gaza, move from north to south, move. Hope that when it does the fight that it does, and I actually see it on the ground, how much effort it puts into minimizing the death. But the death is happening. Let's be honest, right? We see these images. What is happening in Gaza is horrible. It's horrible. But I want you to continue and to understand that all of this can be done, finished, if Hamas surrenders and releases the innocent hostages as young as 9 months old. Right now, it can end. Do you understand? This is what I want you to understand. The loss of these lives is horrible. And the organization who holds keys to stopping this madness is Hamas. Hamas. Okay, now let's get into the little more detailed response that I want to have, because there are certain points in terms of the role of the healer that I want to get into. So the woman writes, and I want to highlight, this is a beautiful human. This is a beautiful human. This is a smart, intelligent woman who lives in California. And she later will tell me that I'm a Muslim, my husband is Palestinian Christian, and half of my friends are Jewish. I love both Arabs and Jews, and I'm absolutely horrified at Hamas's recent atrocities. It's not just atrocities, you see? Like, here I want to stop. It is a brutal, sadistic murder, indiscriminate. It is not just atrocities. We need to clear, to just call things as they are. Coming in, trying to kill as many Jews as possible in a ways that are torturous and sadistic and indiscriminate, and like all this, they filmed, right? They filmed their actions. So we have that for those who want to see. As well as the siege and killing of 8,000 Gazans. Okay, now about the numbers. I want to highlight a lot of people die in Gaza. I just want to highlight that I do not know the exact numbers, because those who report their numbers are Hamas. And I know that Hamas is at war on our Western mind, on all different fronts. And whether you might be used by them, right? Especially if you're a Palestinian, you can be used, because this is what they have done. They used Palestinians and Palestinian cause for their own agenda. And if we go even deeper, we understand that the organization of Hamas itself is enabled by Russia and Iran. There is a bigger war that is happening. We are really in the Third World War right now. And if you are in safety, in a peaceful place, I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you. Me too. And this is a huge privilege, a huge. And I wish all these innocent people, I wish these poor children that had to be born in Gaza into these horrors can be saved and can, this is really bad. This is really bad. Yeah, the siege in Gaza. Guys, you have to understand, 2005, Israel removed itself from Gaza. It cannot, and it still supplies some of its, water and electricity. There are reports by Hamas fighters captured that actually Hamas has storage of fuel, food, and water for 4 months. Why you, my dear beautiful woman, are not facing this reality that the siege on Gaza to Hamas terror? And what do you mean siege? The Israel closed that border. Yes, of course, you would close this border too if you had a neighbor who tries to kill you just because of your ethnicity, who is hateful of you to the core and teaching the kids. I mean, like, when are we going to hold Hamas accountable and understand that they stole lives of their children, of Palestinian children, of children in Gaza, and turned them into these hateful beings? I think that's where the mistake. The rage is rightful. The rage is appropriate. We don't have to be afraid of it. The frustration is appropriate, but it's not frustration at the healer who speaks the truth, who is kind of in a position of hold. You speak a role. What is the role of the healer? It's first of all balance. It's not about only giving you a candy of peace, love, and light. It's not only this. And I'm so happy I evolved from that place. I evolved, I changed. And maybe you don't like what I do right now. And maybe you don't think I'm your healer. That's fine. That's the beauty of social media and this kind of services, that you don't have to consume this content. Yeah. Okay. Let's keep moving on. And over the years, I have spent hours educating myself on the history and complexity of the conflict in the region and listening to all sides. With you, sister, I'm there, I'm doing the same thing, yes. And still, me and you can have different perceptions, because each one of us is a unique window for this consciousness, for which consciousness watches reality, right, and explores itself. So this conflict can be reduced to religion or to Arabs versus Jews. This conflict, we can go into the bigger conflict, but right now, this is what I like about, again, this is what my spiritual practice enables me to do. It's to function in the right now mode. Right now, it is very clear that this is about a religion. It's about jihad versus the world. Because for jihad, anything that is not faithful, including their own Muslim sisters and brothers who have different practice of religion from them, they are their enemies, and they're killing anyone and torturing anyone. And we see what's happening in Iran. We see what's happening in places that bind to this reality. And actually, so Russia is another example where it's not religious, right? But it's the same mentality. I possess the truth, and you do not. And I am going to force my truth onto you physically. That's the mentality that has to live and is living right now our energy system, right? That's the battle. There is a battle. And I don't know, if you think that it can be solved by meditating and sitting together and praying for peace, maybe you are right, maybe you are not wrong. My truth says that this is not enough, because I have been doing this for years, and I keep doing this. But I don't think it's enough. This is what we've seen. This is not enough. People were praying and celebrating peace and love in that festival. Then they were murdered and raped. That's the reality. Peace and love met another side of the reality. Peace and love met evil that is very much embodied and has weapons. So right now, this evil has to be stopped. It has to be. And I believe, I see when I look into this, release hostages, surrender your ways, and it will stop. And trust me, there is so much, like a half of the Israeli population are so much for conversations and for finding ways and for finding a good solution. a good, just, and peaceful solution for the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Yeah, the conflict is deep, it's long, Israelis have their part, Palestinians have their part of work to do. First of all, we really need to start having conversations. And I'm praying for good leadership for us, because right now we don't have good leaders. Not in the Israeli side and not in the Palestinian side. We yet do not have these good leaders who can unite, who want to unite all of us together, and who can be an example and who can initiate global peace, global unity, the society of brothers and sisters in humanity. This is kind of the potential, the direction that I absolutely see. And what is happening right now is the stage in this movement toward unity, toward peace, toward honoring of people regardless of their ethnicity, regardless of their religion. I see this as definitely where we are going. Okay. I have no issue with pro-Israeli or pro-Palestinian posts by other Facebook friends because they are grieving, and it's understandable why they are not pro-peace. You both, however, have a bigger role to play on this planet. And, oh wait, it was later. I'm sorry, I kind of jumped. Islands of sanity in the sea of hate over the last weeks. In my grief, I read your posts and it kept me from losing faith in humanity. You know what I do when I receive from a healer something? I tell them thank you. I did not hear thank you from you. Just saying this. It's true. I am constantly putting free content out there that I know helps a lot of people. And just a general suggestion, if you consume someone's content, understand that this is a work that this human is doing, and they are human. They are just as human as you are. They are not gods. And if they are gods in a human body with no extra special something. They're very much human. So they're doing the work. I suggest expression of gratitude for keeping you from losing faith in humanity. Just suggestion. At times like this, the world needs you both more than ever. I don't know, maybe. I think the world, or let's just take it, the humans, don't like world. What is world? There's no such a thing. Human. You human, right? A human, a sanity needs what? It needs something. Something that me and other healers possess, right? It needs something. Okay, let's get to it. You're supposed to be the strong ones, the ones who hold us and remind us all about our humanity in ones who lead the way. Fuck. No. You. Now I'm turning to every single healer here. You're not supposed to anything. You do you. This is a message for every single healer. You do you, and be honest and be real and be expressed. And let other people choose and decide, are you their healer or not? But you're not supposed to. This is the tikkun olam. This is the mistake that we must to correct as healers. This is the healer wound. That to be called, that I cannot call myself a healer. That would be ridiculous. I cannot say I'm a healer. And actually, I do not really call myself this way. I try to avoid calling myself anything. I can say that I want to heal. I can say that I can have some skills. But people who call me this way are other people, are clients. And this woman saw me. She first had to see me as a healer. She first had to experience my healing in order to call me this, right? She's the one who is giving me this label. And then you, if you are the one having this expectation of me, of what I'm supposed to do, please don't. Please don't impose on other humans the expectations of what they're supposed to be. To me, a healer is someone who has certain skills and capacities, who is given something to other humans that helps them. Yes, helps them to connect to heart, to connect to body, that helps them cope with the reality as is. And if the reality is of war, of pain, of murdering, of killing, of suffering, Hitler is someone who walks between the worlds. To me, is someone who is able to sit both in love, in compassion, in hope and vision for the future, but also someone who is deeply anchored and standing strong with both feet on the ground as is being a human. If for someone who is not human, then I think you are being in childlike mind. There are no gods on this planet, and in my opinion, there are no gods at all. Maybe that's, my medicine. That's my medicine that I bring to myself and to other people who want to take it. Wake up, grow up. We are the world of 8 billion pieces of human consciousness that is free, that is completely creative, that can choose and shift its reality the way it desires. 8 billion of pieces of, you can call it divine, you can call it God consciousness, but I suggest let's dawn on the ground and let's see what happens if we leave out religious language at all. Because religion came in order to help us organize, in order to help us also organize spiritually, kind of to have a certain system that we can go by. And the very deep art is that we cannot exist, we cannot do all this reality and all this life that we cherish so much, that we as souls reincarnate and come back again, again and again, because we love this planet so much. We love this land. All of this land is our motherland. We love it. Land does not belong to us. We can steward it. We can be called by it. We are children of it, but it does not. Something that we may kill over. Israel right now is not killing over land. Israel gave up. Israel gave up. I mean, we can go into this history and look at it. It is to protect its civilians, its people, from being murdered because they are Jews. This is what it is. Horrible to witness the death of so many people in Gaza. It's horrible. To see that the blood of these people are on Hamas hands, we are in a deep problem, because it will mean that Hamas wins. They will win eventually. It will mean that we all will be corrupted and oppressed the way women and children are in Iran. We are going to see this reality on this planet. Living in a Western world, those of us who are, right? It's because we are not consenting to it. The reason why I am Israeli in California and decided to make California my home is because when my son was born, when my 10-year-old son was born, I said, I will not live there as long as you guys, my dear Jewish Arab brothers, my dear Israeli Palestinian brothers and sisters, are not able to live in peace. I will not have him grow in that society. And I know my other Palestinian friends are in the same, who are outside, who kind of left Gaza or who left West Bank, who are able, right? It's really hard actually to leave Gaza. It's very expensive and people are, like 50% of unemployment. It's hard. Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's true. This is what happens when your radicals take over. And this can happen to us in Israel. We are kind of on that slope. This is why people like me have been going on streets and protesting government of Benjamin Netanyahu, because we can see it's not a good direction. If you let people who hate capitalize on your challenge, right? This literally capitalize on the conflict, and they unravel it more and more and more. this is what happens, right? Like, this is what happens in Russia too. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So, important point, right? Like, a healer is a human. And I call everyone, please, please stop trying and being better, like pretending that you are this creature who doesn't live in the 3D reality of war. Because if you live in the 3D reality of war, if you live in a reality where Hamas bursts in and kills indiscriminately, you cannot just dance in ecstasy. And to this beautiful woman who later quotes and says, she says something, let me go to, where is that? Ira Kotlik, I remember at our retreat last year when the war in Ukraine had just started, you did. Okay, it's. So when the war in Ukraine had started in our last year retreat, you did an ecstatic group dance and shouted, let's send lots of love to Putin, while smiling and doing a happy dance. My Ukrainian friend was hurt by your actions and challenged you. Because she told me, yeah, I cannot send love to Putin. By the way, I send so much love to Hamas. Trust me, every single day I send love to everyone, especially to Hamas and to Putin. I keep doing that, hoping that the heart of these people will rupture. You know, it's interesting, I already see some these videos of some fighters who connected to the Christ energy and who had their awakening. This is phenomenal, right? Like, this is phenomenal. Or Mossab, who is the son of one of the Hamas founders, who was able to see and understand and like completely unmarry the culture actually he was born into, the culture of Hamas in his specific case in I don't remember if he was in Gaza, I think, yeah. And he now really speaks against it and like, So it's possible, of course, so much yes. You went on to explain your position on how only love will save the world. I was wrong, sister. I was wrong. Not only love will save the world. Love and honesty. Love and a clear mind that is able to see reality as is. So, the heart and the mind together will save the world. And this is a sacred matrimony. And I'm so now smiling and excited because then it takes me to my actual work with couples. This is where we are brewing a new society. This all connects eventually to the importance of the couple and couple love and couple relationship. And if we want to create a beautiful reality, we need to teach our children to love, not to hate. You see? This is why Hamas has to go. This is why the war right now is not between Israelis and Palestinians. It's between Israel and Hamas. And Hamas has to go, or transform, right? An ecstatic dance now and sending love to Hamas. Yeah. I responded because you're an Israeli Jewish and have family in Israel and you are in rage. And yeah, so my love and my meditation I do in private. I do not do it right now in public because in public I'm plunged into the network of people who grieve. And yes, my parents have been moved from their house, entire town was evacuated. When I talk to my husband on the phone in Tel Aviv, the bombs are falling around and I can hear able to nurture your healer. Are you able to step up in your healing and to stop being a victim and to stop being someone who needs this other, right? This is the essence of how we created a God. Let me have this object. Let me have this idea of someone or something that is higher, better, stronger than me. And let me project that now into a human, a healer, a human, and expect them who never needs your help, so that you can forever be a child and they have spiritually, and they have forever can be a teacher, a parent spiritually. Honey, this is where we grow up. This is the new upgraded reality of consciousness. There are no children, and adults. There are no teachers and students. In the new world, spiritually speaking, not in terms of the skills that you transfer, but spiritually speaking, we sisters and brothers in humanity, and the way to save this world is to awaken each and every one of us. The healer must be awakened in each and every one of us, the sacred warrior, the one who can see the truth, who can discern, who can understand, to tell good from bad in this reality, in the 3D, right? There are dimensions where this does not exist. There is no good and bad. And that in those dimensions, truly, the death doesn't matter. Like, we all are going to die eventually. So in those dimensions, the deaths, it's just souls who are coming back to the source. Rightfully, our human mind, hearing this in the moment where actual bodies are dying, human mind, human being, the indigenous mind that knows to weave the earth and the sky together, is like, oh, this body is a sacred temple. We need to honor it. And we need to take responsibility. Choices, including our choices of our leadership. And when you choose Hamas as your leaders, this is the reality you plunge yourself into. It's painful. It's horrible. It's horrible. The children who are born into this reality, right? No single human has to be born into this reality. And I believe that the war we are fighting right now is the war for every single child, so that they do not have to come into the world where Islamic jihad rules. Yeah. So I hope you also can see what I'm doing with myself, right? Like, we can have difficult conversations. We can have it. We can be adults. We can have difficult feelings. We can have all of this. Sit with all of this. Let that be our meditation, alongside meditation for love and peace, right? Because you see, in the spiritual truth, you work with what is, and every single emotion is a goddess. My rage is a goddess, the same way as my love is a goddess. All of this. And if I now take out this word, right, like the way I said, let's let go of the word of the god and goddess, then I just understand that all emotions in the emotional reality, they have place. And as a consciousness, I'm working with what is. I'm working with what is. I'm showing up in whatever reality I have. And if there is a reality of pain, of rage, I show up as someone who can breathe, self-heal, regulate, self-regulate. Don't expect someone else to do it for you. Self-regulate. Self-regulate. Come into that. We are sitting in a painful reality. We are sitting in a hard reality. Yes, yes, yes. Do you want to do an ecstatic dance? Do you feel like this is in your body right now? Do it. Beautiful. Do you want to shut yourself from the news and sit in the group of people, Arabs, Jews, Muslims, Christians, Palestinians, Israelis, like I also do? Do it. Do it. Want to speak this truth with the passion like I'm feeling right now, to be liberated from political correctness, from this fake toxic femininity that is like, oh, I'm like only love and peace and rainbows. I'm only that. You may, I may. I choose to liberate from this, from being pushed and forced by other people's opinions, by other people's expectations and desires to be this limited version of the vastness of the woman that I am. I'm the woman of all emotions. And I can feel anger and I can feel rage. And guess what? I'm not going to kill anyone. They're coming to my home and killing my children. And now I'm talking to you as a Mahakali consciousness. Ha! Let's connect to that rage of the mother. The mother is in rage. Have you seen the mother in rage? And have you criticized her for her rage? Because mother allows to have rage, and her rage is long, long overdue. Long overdue. Not only her love, but her rage must to come online. Because mother is raging when one child kills another child. When one child says, I'm going to kill you because you're a Jew. I'm going to come and do what Hamas have done on October 7th. This is the reality. This is the reality we are working in right now. You are right. There must be a solution to the action, to the bigger Palestinian Israeli conflict. Yes, and solution must be solid, it must be just, it must be peaceful. People need to sit at the table and have these conversations. We have not been doing this, by the way. For a long time, Israelis and Palestinians have not been doing this as governmental entities. This is what is to come, I believe. This is what is to come. But the rage is so due. The boundary is so due. It and say that you have failed as a healer. And now you are acting as a political activist. You absolutely have the right to do so. Thank you. But then you need to admit that all these years you were preaching bullshit you don't really believe in. That's all. And then she later says, she tells me, I want to point out that I don't feel any rage. Honey, I call you on feeling rage and not actually being in touch with it. And this is why you can write to me that I have to admit that I failed. On me. Tell me that I have been preaching bullshit I don't really believe in. So what I will admit, as I already said, I will highlight it, is that I understood that not only love can save this world. Only love is killed. Only love is massacred and paraded through Gaza naked, being spat on. This is what happens to love when she's only love. She's killed in 2023 on the Holy Land, paraded by the freedom fighters who claim to love their motherland, who claim to be spiritual. I had to evolve from understanding that not only love will save the world. To get wisdom, with ability to see reality and accept it as is and to step up into it. As a sacred warrior, as a protector, healer, have united with my protector. The divine feminine had met her divine masculine. Job to keep holding the space for their sacred union, to keep holding the space for truth meeting love, meeting softness. Come together. Love and truth to win. For immediate return of hostages that Hamas keeps captive right now, as young as 9 months old, innocent people. Hamas. Because I know and know that this will bring immediate ceasefire, so that no more Gaza who were born into this horror reality will die. I want to say one more thing. The marriage of healer and protector has to happen in each and every one of us. Each and every one of us has to connect to both the compassion, the love, and an ability to look to reality in the eye, as is right here, right now, in this human plane. Can we get high and disconnect from this reality of the conflict, of the war, of the loss of life, mass loss of life? Because without this vessel, all that we love and cherish, all the spirituality that we experience, all the high, extended, expansive states, is possible thanks to this body. And this body needs certain conditions. The love has to be protected. The gentleness, the compassion has to be protected. I'm someone who, I don't care how you call me, but I am someone who stands so strong for these two elements, for the love and the truth, for the heart and the mind, co-creating, co-working, cooperating together. And when my heart and mind meets Hamas, the mother, love, the rage of her, the mother, that is also her love, streams. So funny. Like, I'm saying like the most dramatic thing, and my cat is puking out some of the food that did not work for her. You see where we live? Like, we live in this. This is our reality. The serious and the funny, the horrible and the beautiful, the love and the rage are, in a deeper sense, is just one energy power. And if it hits mentality that says, I'm not willing to be compassionate, I'm not willing to change, I literally want to kill and murder. Yeah, I'm self-righteous, I'm righteous. Then this is what is happening. But if it meets the mentality that is asking and dreaming and searching and yearning for love, that heart can be transformed. The heart can be transformed. In us, and we must connect with it. We all have all kinds of impulses and desires, including murderous ones. And we must now to connect with them inside of us. And as a leader, as a spiritual leader, as I see myself, I actually do see myself as a spiritual teacher and a leader of the evolution of consciousness. This is how I see myself. Healing abilities, skills. This is why people come to me. This is why you've been following me. I'm still that same person that maybe is not working for you anymore, which is fine. I did not fail love. I evolved. And I truly wish evolution of consciousness on all of us. I love you.